for the full hour, Bob Chapman of theinternationalforecaster.com. Before he retired, he had the biggest financial newsletter out there, biggest silver and gold private broker. Worked in intelligence in Europe, in Berlin, in that key frontline office during the Cold War, and also in South Africa, France, and other nations. So he's particularly skilled to talk about these intelligence matters with us. Wayne Madsen worked for the Naval Reconnaissance Office, the NSA. He's written for some of the largest publications in the country, and he's been all over international and national television many times. We have him on more and more now because he just keeps breaking huge stories. And just while my guys were with him for a day and a half in D.C., they were witnessing him at the press club, hearing huge breaking news that we didn't even talk about, that then broke weeks later in the news. So it's just, I ought to move to D.C., but I couldn't stand being there and actually be around all these reporters because they all know about this, but none of them have the courage he has to come out and talk about it. That's what blew away my camera guys and my producer that went. They said there were all these famous reporters and old men and big newspaper reporters going, it's New World Order, it's global government, we're being robbed by foreign banks. Yeah, they staged the attacks, everybody knows, but we're scared. This is incredible. So Bob Chapman's with us and Wayne Madsen. Wayne, just for this segment, because he's got to go in a meeting. Wayne, I saw you on international television, also saw a story at WayneMadsenReport.com. We've got it linked up on Infowars.com right now, where there's an NSA intelligence unit called the Q Group. Briefly, tell us exactly what's going on with it, why it was set up, who it's targeting, and then I want to back up what you've been talking about. We have the Violent Radicalization Act hearings in Congress where they show architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, almost 1,000 members now, all these physicists, peer-reviewed journals, international television. Thermite's been found, separate universities. They blew the buildings up. They're really getting desperate. And you're saying this Q Group is out to persecute government whistleblowers specifically, I guess like a person like yourself or others. Tell us about what's happening. I mean, is this going after Sybil Edmonds? Is this like going after the Army colonels that exposed that the FBI and the CIA were blocking the Able Danger investigation? Tell us what's going on with this Q Group, then we'll get Bob Chapman's take on it.
Well, Alex, what Q Group is, it's the NSA Personnel Security Office. It's always existed. It's the group that does background investigations, gives people the clearances to work there, does periodic updates of their security clearances. But since 9/11, what this group has turned into, it's turned into a secretive intelligence gathering agency within a secret intelligence gathering agency. What they're doing now is going after anyone within the National Security Agency, NSA, which is employees and government contractors who, in any way, shape, or form, are seen as potential whistleblowers, may have been to a meeting they didn't agree with. It's like a Stasi force, and it's really causing a lot of people to lose their clearances, to lose their jobs. They also blacklist these people to make sure they don't even get a job in another agency that requires a security clearance. So that's essentially, it's about 1,000 informants and employees and agents. They work closely with FBI counterintelligence out of the Washington, D.C. field office and out of the Baltimore field office. And this is exactly what this group is doing. And recently, they've really been going after people who may have had some knowledge because they worked in NSA on 9/11. And obviously, they don't want any of that information to come out. They also, I might add, are conducting surveillance of journalists who write about NSA. There's at least 8 I heard of in the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I'm one of them, or fortunately, however you're looking at it. But they have photographs, dossiers, and what I'm told, telephone transcripts and email transcripts of conversations between an email between journalists and people who've either worked in NSA or still work at the agency.
Wayne, continue. I mean, give us specifics, if you can, without revealing your source, about these documents you saw.
Well, the documents I saw had to do with a database called First Fruits, It's a joint NSA CIA operation under the Foreign Denial and Deception Committee. But it used to be basically an online clipping service. Anytime there was an article about NSA, it would wind up in this database. But it's expanded now to include journalists and who they're talking to, so it contains information derived from wiretaps, whether they're legal or not. Probably most of them are under Stellar Wind and are illegal and against the Fourth Amendment, against the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. But I've seen that. I've seen those documents. Also seen.
By the way, it's not just. Let me stop you. It's not just you saying this, Wayne Madsen. Much of this has come out. They're spying on congresswomen, congressmen, governors, journalists. This is all admitted. We live in a Stasi state, and they probably like what you're doing. They like everybody knowing we live in East Germany. This is disgusting.
Absolutely, and as I say, that I've also seen documents that show, even though my name was redacted, it was clear that I was under investigation by the Q group for talking to certain individuals within NSA. I've seen those documents as well. I FOIA'd those documents. They've told me I have to wait in line behind everybody else. Even I've asked for expedited processing as a journalist. And they at first they said they would give me expedited processing for the FOIA, and then they turned around and said we're not.
Well, I've done the FOIAs, and they just say hire a lawyer, national security. We're not giving you your FBI files, CIA, NSA. Alex Jones, go fly a kite.
Right. And I got the same message from them. But the most egregious example was what they did to Ken Ford, who worked in the Iraq Signals Intelligence Shop in March of 2003. This is the month we Bush attacked Iraq. Ken Ford had been a uniformed Secret Service agent who guarded President Clinton at the White House. He transferred to NSA to get into a new career pattern. He was tasked with looking at signals intercepts of Iraqi government communications to find evidence of weapons of mass destruction. He found no evidence. He made a report with his name on it. It winds up on Dick Cheney's desk. He's stung in an operation where they accuse him of stealing classified information out of NSA during the middle of the day. Absolutely impossible to do with the security there. They basically indicted him, and he was convicted by a dirty judge, a tainted jury pool, and a couple of dirty federal prosecutors. He's sitting now in Pennsylvania. In a federal prison in Pennsylvania, and he got 7 years.
Well, Wayne, let me ask you this question. We know they also went after Sybil Edmonds and others, and they admit they have Army intelligence spying on peace groups, in the Fed groups, Tea Parties. You go to a Tea Party, there's just feds everywhere with cameras. DHS reports demonizing liberals, conservatives, they don't care. I mean, this really is a grade A thug criminal government. And I interrupted you earlier, and I want to go to Bob Chapman here in a moment. You were getting into some more of these documents you've seen and how they work with local police. All I hear is local radio ads to recruit for the CIA. They admit they're setting up local offices. Doesn't even matter if that's illegal. I mean, are these guys just going to openly turn us into Nazi Germany?
Well, I think they basically have done the rudimentaries for turning us into that kind of society. I mean, it was clear what they did to Ken Ford, sitting 7 years in Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary in Pennsylvania. They made an example of him for others, but I know people who have been fired, lost their clearances. I witnessed surveillance myself just a couple of weeks ago by people who worked with this Q group at NSA when I was meeting a person who used to work there. So it's real. I've seen it. I've seen the documents. I've actually also witnessed the surveillance.
Man, America's now like downtown Havana. I can't. And of course, suddenly it's not about fighting Al-Qaeda. Suddenly it's all about the American people and the government, persecuting itself. This is a purge is what's happening. This is an intimidation. Bob Chapman, your view on what Wayne Madsen's breaking down here.
In one word, it's terrifying. And I guess all of us who have been reporting into this and also experienced counterintelligence and work for the government, we never expected them to really come out in the open the way they have, but they are. Just like Wayne just said, it's on, it's here, it's now, they're doing it, and they really don't care who knows it.
In fact, they want people to know. The times I've had the military in a parking lot block me in and threaten me, they just go, we want you to know we're watching and we're here. And I guess they're proud to kill this country. I mean, I guess they think it's good they blew up those towers.